Quilty is brought to you by
APQS, handcrafted quilting machines. Aurifil. Aurifil Italian thread, perfectly suited for all your quilting projects. Baby Lock, for the love of sewing.
Havels Sewing. When you need to cut it close, choose Havels.
Moda. Make something quilty with Moda fabrics.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Quilty, and Ashley Briggs, welcome back to the show.
Why, thank you.
Yes, well, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. How
Excellent.
are you?
I'm doing fine. And we were talking before the show,
yes,
and we were talking right now about how you are a beginner quilter.
Yes.
You were a garment sewer, though.
Yes.
And what kind of garments did you make?
Lots of jackets, shirts, pants, skirts, whatever I felt like wearing.
For you. So
yes.
you made it for you. Mm-hmm. That is so cool. Garment sewing is something that I think if you do garment sewing, I think making patchwork is like easy.
I think it kind of made it easier because I made up my first quilt and it had some curved seams in there, and people are like, "You don't want to do that," but I'm like, it's like sewing in an armhole.
Totally. So
yeah.
I mean, I never did that before, so a curved seam to me was really difficult. But you've got all those skills. Mm-hmm. So, but the thing that's different in garment sewing and in patchwork is the cutting is a little bit different, just because we use some different tools.
Right.
And I'm sure in garment sewing that maybe some little rotary cutters are used or some wheels or something.
I didn't personally use them, but I'm sure you could.
Probably could. And you could probably use a rotary cutter for garment sewing too, but we really use it a lot in fabric.
Okay.
Or in patchwork.
Okay.
And so we're going to do a square up technique because I think when people start cutting yardage when they're first doing patchwork, mm-hmm. it's like super, super daunting. We've done shows on rotary cutting before, but we've never shown this square up method, okay? So when you're cutting strips from yardage, this is pinned. It's pinned very responsibly to this thing. Okay, so when you're cutting, you take fabric, from the fabric store, mm-hmm. and we line our selvages up at the top of where we're cutting. That's kind of the rule. And what's difficult, I think, for people, and I'm going to show you on a smaller piece of fabric in just a second. We're going to use a smaller piece of fabric. But the question is, like, how do I know that I'm cutting straight strips?
Right.
And a lot of times, you'll cut something and it's like you get an elbow in the middle, or, the strip gets wider, and it's like, do I use the lines on my mat, or how do I know if it's lined up right? And I actually have to say I've seen a lot of beginners spend, like, a lot of time getting it, like, just right. Gotta get it exactly. And it's really like once you get a few basic steps in, you don't have to stress too much about like lining it up so exact that it's like you spend an hour doing it.
Mm-hmm.
You'll see what I mean.
Okay.
But like the fabric is forgiving, and that's one of the reasons I like making quilts, because it's not like watercolor painting where if you do something wrong,
right,
you're like,
you have to start all the way over.
Basically.
Okay.
So here's how you square up a piece of fabric.
Okay.
Actually. What I'd like you to do
mm-hmm.
is put the selvage at the top.
Okay. Together.
Yep. And together. And
do it up here.
Foof it out. Like just kind of do a little foofing.
Okay.
And what you'll see, if you turn it to the side, actually, for the camera, if you turn it to the side, you've got, it's not totally even, right? It's not lining up perfectly. There's kind of there's a fold down at the bottom.
Okay.
And if you folded it exactly, this down here. Sorry, I know I'm kind of manhandling this guy. But if you folded it in the middle,
then those edges aren't.
The edges aren't totally lined up anymore, okay? So we're gonna fold it twice so that we really have room to work.
Okay.
What you can do, so you line up the bottom fold on one of your lines in the ruler. That's the first step, okay? And then put your rotary cutting ruler down, just like that.
Okay.
And then this is a square up ruler. And I'm gonna show it to the camera.
Okay.
And it has this nice little pad on the back that helps you stick it down. In fact, you could peel that off for me. That would be great. And that kind of helps it from moving around. So put it down on your fabric. And
do you want it up at the top?
Yeah, do it just so you can kind of see how
it really sticks on there. Okay.
Totally.
Perfect.
So what we're going to do...
Your fabric.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm glad you did that, because that's what I mean when people really, really futz with it a whole lot. They're just like...
I'm being too finicky.
Yeah, well, a little. I mean, it's good to have it straight, but to sort of like obsess about like making sure that it's on the thing. You're going to be cutting apart your fabric, and you're going to be moving it around a lot, so you don't need to worry too much about... micromanaging. Okay. But it's lined up on the bottom line. Mm-hmm. Okay. Then we put our rotary cutting here. We're going to clean up the edge. Because, as you can see, and I want the camera to really get this because we're about to cut it. So this is not totally lined up right. We want to make sure our strip is consistent all the way through. So we're going to clean it off about a half an inch, and then
Okay.
we're going to be really
So you
low.
need to make sure that you look and see, so you don't cut off too little, right? So
Exactly.
Then, okay.
Exactly. Because if we just trimmed off a quarter
bit.
inch or something, you
It
know,
might
we
still-
exactly.
Okay.
So this is a very technical show, but it's important. So you line up your rotary cutting ruler about a half an inch in. Okay. So
Okay.
there's our half an inch, and we're about a half inch in deep.
Okay.
But to make sure that your fabric isn't doing like that, because you could sort of go a half an inch deep and slice
still
that
be
off,
crooked.
and it could still sort of be crooked. So
Okay.
the reason we do this, we give yourself a line, and there's lots of different ways to do this, but this is the square up method that I've been taught. So we're going in a half an inch there, and if you place your square up ruler on the rest of your fabric,
Mm-hmm.
you can make sure that it's straight all the way across. You have this extra length of ruler to make
Okay.
sure that you're at a right angle, okay? That you're
Okay.
really straight. So then you move and you want it lined up right along the edge of your fabric, okay?
Okay.
So you know you're straight. So what I'm gonna have you do is cut this strip. So put on
My
your safety
detective
glove.
glove.
Exactly. Your Michael Jackson glove.
Okay. It's not the right color.
Yeah, it's not the right color. You're right. A diamond safety glove would be amazing. And then with conviction and
Okay.
with confidence, holding this ruler really tightly
Okay.
down so it doesn't move, give yourself a slice.
Okay.
Awesome. Okay, now move your ruler away, and we'll take this little guy away, and we have a lovely edge. Okay, now we're going to do the other edge. So
Okay.
let's say we need a 2.5 inch strip. Okay, so put your ruler down and go in 2.5 inches,
inches.
right?
Okay.
And then we'll square it up, make sure that's really lined up perfectly on the edge. Okay, and this line,
Lines up perfect.
beautiful. Okay,
Okay.
no elbows will be made in this show. I can guarantee you.
I hope not, anyway.
I know, right? Except the elbows here. Those were already made.
Okay.
Beautiful. Okay, we'll move this away. And I'm guessing if you want to unfurl that, we
the
have
glove off there.
a 100% straight strip. Yeah, it's really good. If we gave it a press, we would see that it's just like consistent all the way through. Very, very nice. Okay. yeah, you did well. So that's a way to square up. You just need an extra ruler, and you don't have to have this particular ruler. You can bring in another rotary cutting ruler, but it just gives you that right angle to make sure that your fabric is lined up and really nice. So good job.
Well, thank you.
I know it gets kind of like nitty gritty.
I know I was being I'm one of those. I was a little too finicky.
It's okay. As you get more comfortable, you'll sort of relax it a little bit, and then
Okay.
you're good to go. But accuracy is good, and you did a very nice job.
Well, thank you.
See you next time, guys. Bye.
Quilty is brought to you by
APQS, handcrafted quilting machines. Aurifil. Aurifil Italian thread, perfectly suited for all your quilting projects. Baby Lock, for the love of sewing.
Havel's Sewing. When you need to cut it close, choose Havel's.
Moda. Make something quilty with Moda fabrics.
Quilty.